is the first time I've unboxed this actually. I don't see any instructions. Hey friends, Dustin here. You're watching the Life of Lynn channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Today, we're getting a little crazy here. If you recall, Eric and I went up and picked up a $500 motorhome from the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, a couple months back, and drove it all the way home. And it was quite the adventure. We kind of feared for our lives, could barely get it running, but we made it. We made it. So today, we're gonna make it reliable. Look at all the things here. Now, not sponsored by Ace's Fuel Injection, but they were the cheapest kit out there. There's several companies that offer these fuel injection swap kits, but these guys had a heck of a deal. It was like $1,200 off, and I still paid way too much for it, but you guys got to see this stuff. Look at this. It comes with everything. Look at that. So the 440 big block in the Winnebago is going to be getting a massive throttle body. Fuel injection. We've got everything, including distributor, the wiring, the computer, everything, the whole fuel system. So we're pretty excited to throw that on there today. Our goal is to make it get better than 4 miles to the gallon. That was a little rough. And also I want it faster, because why not, right? Fast Winnebagos, that makes sense to me. So Eric's here today. He's gonna help me disassemble the top of the motor. I'm gonna put this new Edelbrock intake manifold on. That's gonna help our performance as well. And then we'll slap this Aces kit on. Should take, you know, it says 2 days. So a couple of weeks, should have it done for you guys. Let's get to it. Step A, disconnect battery. Step B, install fuel injection set, right? Step C, reconnect positive cable.
It's just that easy.
It should be pretty easy. I mean, none of this really looks complicated. The distributor, we just gotta drop that in, basically. This thing, you know, fuel, power, that seems fine. Some gaskets and tubes.
Wires.
Wires. Oh, this looks important. Probably gonna need that.
Plug those in.
Yeah. What's this? Oh, we gotta drill a hole in the exhaust and put a O2 sensor in. That's fine. I can weld.
You have a drill.
It's kind of drill. You know, I've used JB Weld before, and it's turned out pretty well. What else do we got? Oh, this is the brains of the operation right here. This is, look at all the little pins in there. Those all do something. So that's exciting.
I bet the instructions would tell you what to do.
You know, one of these boxes probably has the instructions in them. Nope. Oh, that looks nice. Look at that. Oh, we got an air filter. That's cute. Here's our fuel system, the whole thing. Regulator, pumps, filters. 10 a.m. line or something, 6 a.m., I don't know. It's a size. All right, well, there it is. We just got to put it in. This doesn't look complicated at all, really. I mean, it's basically plug and play for 1977 Winnebago with a 440.
Several plugs.
It's just plug and play.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
There's got to be a YouTube video.
I guess we're gonna have to watch YouTube. Okay, we'll get back with you. I guess the most important thing is we start at the bottom by tearing all the top off to get to that. The scary part is we're actually doing a lot of stuff from the fuel system all the way to the intake manifold, and everything that controls ignition and fueling is getting replaced. So if one little thing gets screwed up, it's going to be fun to figure out where we screwed it up.
You should probably start by draining the coolant and disposing of it at an authorized EPA disposal site.
Oh, you know what? You're right. That's the very first thing we should do. Probably the fuel too. Yes, we'll dispose of that.
At an authorized EPA disposal site.
Yeah, of course. We actually have one right down the road. What the hell? Oh. Ah! There's an interesting thing Chrysler did here. Can't really see it, but there's some kind of sensor for something. literally pushed up against the drain valve, so you can't take the drain valve out. On our little trip, remember this was steamy?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I got home, it was big steamy. All the fluids were just
I was
out
asleep when we got here. I know I was driving.
Here. Yeah, that's fine.
I was driving your truck, but I was definitely asleep by the time we got here.
I think it was 4:30 in the morning when we got here.
Something like that.
And I had just run out of gas 4 miles from town.
Yeah, 4 miles from a gas station.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. So I didn't tell anybody this, but after I got it home, did some tinkering and some tuning on it. Got it running pretty good. And then like the next day I went to start it and it wouldn't start. The wire that goes to the electric choke caught on fire and tried to burn the whole thing down. Luckily, I know what burning wire smells like and took the lid off and realized that this was like smoldering on the section of wire that used to be here, but isn't anymore because it melted. So yeah, now it's really hard to start without the choke, which is another reason to ditch this old carburetor and bring this thing into the 21st century.
Or the 20th century.
Yeah, the 20th century, really. We're going to bring this thing into 1986. Nice. Should be pretty straightforward. Pull the carb, pull the stuff out of the way, pull the distributor, pull our intake manifold. Sure. All right, carb's off. That's pretty cool. Look at the size of that sucker. I'm literally just recording this right now. Where the distributor is pointing is right towards the right side of this heater hose right here. Because, you know, it's going to be 2 weeks from now when I eventually try to time the new setup. And, you know, I wanted to see what's going on. So there it is. Future me, it's pointing that way. All right, we got updates here. Took off the old cast iron manifold, and then we're gonna put our new performance one on here, but we found something interesting. These blocks have a crossover for the exhaust on both sides, left and right here. We thought our new performance intake manifold would not have these crossovers, but it does. And interestingly enough, that crossover goes directly to the intake manifold on both sides. So you literally have dirty exhaust jetting up into the bottom of the carburetor. I think that was a warming feature and probably emissions for 70s, late 70s.
I would think, yeah, to help the carburetor warm up.
Obviously we don't want that, so we found some bolts and put some fluid on them. Yeah, we're just gonna ram them down in the little holes down there and zip them in. And then our holes will be sealed up, because we don't want that shooting in the bottom of our brand new throttle body. Look at that. That is a big motor with some cool stuff on it. Pretty excited about that. It's coming along pretty well. Right now we're in the middle of wiring. Had to finally jump online, find all the PDF files and install videos. Aces has all of them very easily accessible on their website. So we're just double checking some things. We had a lot of upgrades in this kit, like the billet distributor, the CDI ignition. We just needed to see how those are communicating with our EFI computer module. So we got that figured out now. I downloaded the PDFs on the phone so I can just look at it while I'm hooking it up. Should be pretty straightforward. Well, it's dark out now. But look, we did make some progress. Huh? Yeah, there's wiring, there's some fuel lines not properly attached, and of course our throttle body's on. Looks pretty good. What do you think so far, Eric, and how did it turn out?
I think it's mocked up,
Yes.
right? So like
It's not done.
the intake manifold is torqued down right, and I believe the throttle body is torqued down to the intake manifold, but the fuel lines are more or less just mocked up where they roughly need to be. I mean, we've made progress on the...
All this is just loose, so
Yeah.
we're figuring out where we need to put it.
How long things need to be, cutting them to size, making AN fittings.
Yep.
We got wires pulled through kind of where they need to go.
Yeah, some stuff's kind of where it needs to go. Some stuff's waiting for sensors. I mean, that's hooked up. This stuff needs to be dropped down and back.
In.
Yeah, the distributor's in. I mean, we made some progress.
Then we really slowed down.
A lot.
Yeah, like right around
Drastically.
like 5, we stopped making progress.
Something about tacos. I don't know.
There was
It's
dinner.
slowed down things.
Slowed down after dinner.
We tried to rush and get some more of the fuel line hooked up underneath to the factory tank, and it wasn't working. So then I kept making splices and adding AN lines and different adapters. So now we have this giant fuel pump assembly that I hate. So I'm going to take it apart and do it right. So I just had to order more fittings. I was trying to make it work with what we had, and I could have made it work, but it just wouldn't have been the way I wanted it. So we're going to give up because it's dark outside. For now. We're going to come back. I told you guys, it's going to take like 2 weeks. We'll have it running in 2 weeks.
You got parts coming on
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
So you can get back to it at the end of the week.
Yeah, today's Saturday. Plus, I can still do all the wiring while I'm waiting for the parts. The instructions did say that you could mount this in the engine bay, but it would be preferable if you could mount it in the passenger compartment, which we definitely did. So that's going to be underneath this seat now. Look at that. Huh? All the wiring goes out and underneath. So it's going to be a pretty clean install. That's why I stopped working on the fuel lines. I'm just going to order the parts I need to make that look good.
A little more professional.
Yeah, and then we'll tidy up all the wiring and get it timed and see if we can get it running. But
not today.
Not today. No, we're good today. You guys have a good night. I'll see you soon. Hey friends, hold that thought for just a second while we talk about today's sponsor of the Life of Lynn channel. That's Raycon. That's right. Finally, after years of watching all my favorite YouTubers talk about Raycon and their great everyday earbuds, I finally reached out to Raycon and got a set. And turns out all my YouTube friends weren't kidding. These things are fantastic. The fit is phenomenal. I got them. They're already charged, so I could just throw them in, connect them real quick, and boop, good to go. Everything's been great so far. I went with traditional black. But I did get the concrete case, which is kind of cool, kind of personalize it. So if you got a bunch of members in your family that have different earbuds, you can get them all different cases. That way, you know, you're not sticking your earbuds in your kid's ear. I also like to use them when I'm sitting down at the computer, editing a good video for you guys. Also, if I'm just rocking out in the shop and not shooting any video and hanging out over a motor, they don't fall out. They are amazing. Guys, not only do they fit great, the sound quality is excellent, and they have up to a 32-hour battery life. So I can be working out in the shop for days listening to these things before I even have to just pop them back into the case to recharge them. And hey, if you guys are like me and forget to charge your device occasionally, you know, it happens. Just 10 minutes of charging on these earbuds is going to give you up to 90 minutes of listening time on them. And you think an earbud that fits this great and has all these features is going to be crazy expensive? You're incorrect. They are very affordable, and even more affordable today because you guys are going to get 20% off. Go ahead and visit that link down in the description. It's going to be buyraycon.com/Lind. Go check it out today, and thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring today's episode. Well, I told you it was going to happen. It's been well over a week since that last clip took place. And here I am, working on the Winnebago. Now, Eric and I ordered some parts that night for the fuel system. And let me be clear that the ACES EFI kit came with enough fuel parts to actually make it work. It just wasn't going to work the way I wanted it to, and I wanted some more angles to kind of aim the, you know, nice lines and stuff where I wanted to run them. So I could have made it work, but I just didn't like the way it looked. It is just a universal kit, and of course this is a 77 Winnebago. Anyway, ordered those parts. They're supposed to be here in 4 days, and then within those 4 days, I believe my children brought home the Black Plague, and all of us were knocked out. The whole house was sick, and man, I've been recovering for about a week now. Finally feel good enough to get out here in the cold shop and get back to work on this thing. All right, guys, here on the inside, I did get everything kind of hooked up. Our EFI system is underneath here, all wired up nice and neatly. Nice and safe in there. The fuel lines and stuff I was waiting for, I just wanted some connections to kind of make this all work. This is going to be our incoming pressure line. This is actually a filter, and then right here is a fuel pressure sensor for our ECU, so that way we know how much fuel pressure we got. We do have a mechanical fuel pressure. It's a rising rate regulator there, so we'll be able to adjust our fuel pressure for when we add a little bit more power to this thing. And then here's our return line here. That goes all the way down to our regulator, and then this goes back to the tank. Now underneath, that's kind of where I had the issue where I wanted some different fittings. Let me show you what that looks like. All right, guys, over there is our inline pump. I mounted it to a metal bracket here right next to the fuel tank. Got an inline filter there. I got a push connect 3/8 inch fitting on the intake. Now, since this tank didn't previously have a return on it, I was able to use the generator suction line on it as the return. So the generator does not have any fuel line going to it anymore, but that's okay. We'll get that figured out here pretty soon. And you know, it was really convenient because I already had 2 holes in the tank. Now I've got a suction and return line. That's all set up the way it should be. The fuel pump is primed. Don't have any leaks. So looks like we're good to go and continue on to our next step. Okay, currently this is all the parts we got left. And you know, all these fuel parts we don't really need. This line don't need. We went ahead and took care of all the fuel line stuff. We've got this one little connector here for additional wiring. We don't really need any of this on our current setup. This has like tack output, fan output, that sort of thing that would go to some relays. That's stuff that we're gonna add in the future, so we'll be keeping this for now. So I gotta weld this little bung on the exhaust and install our wideband O2 sensor, and then hook that up. But everything as of now is actually wired up in this thing. I was able to prime the pump. Got the handheld loosely plugged in for now. The wires aren't run where you know, they're going to be eventually. I'm not entirely sure how I want this. This is kind of very modern looking, and I don't want to take away from all the vintageness that I will be keeping. So I'm not sure where I'll put this yet, you know, out of the way, because I was able to install all the digital sensors next to the old analog ones, because there's enough ports in this motor to do so. I'll figure out where to mount that. For right now, it is just loosely hooked up. Distributors in. One of the other things I have to do real quick is all the wires that we had on this thing are this style spark plug wire. And as you can see from our new distributor cap here, that's a whole different style from this old one here. So I did get some spark plug wires. We will be running some new ones to all the plugs, and I'll go ahead and try to get a base timing set in this thing. Those are the last 3 major things that need to be done for a test fire. I do have a base tune loaded already in it, so we're getting close, guys. Well, hello again, and welcome to Underneath the Winnebago, where I've just poorly welded on this bung for our wideband O2 sensor. Now, don't look at the welds too closely. They're pretty bad, but it seems to be sealed. I did get all the way around it, despite the tight location to everything down here. It's a little tight. Anyway, got our wideband 02 here. Gonna go ahead and see if I can thread that in there, and I probably should have put a bolt or something in there to keep it from warping while I was welding it, but I didn't, so we'll see how well this goes. And I got a good long lead here that I can run up that way and to the ECU plug, so that should work pretty good if I can get it in there. All right, I did get the threads started. Let's see if we can get it run all the way in there. Let's get this thing tightened up and then hooked up, and then we're going to go on top where we're going to be doing, cut to length spark plug wires so we can get this thing set up the way it needs to, and then I think we're ready for a test fire very soon. It is an absolute mess in here, but it's coming along. I think maybe we're ready to prime the fuel system and give it a test fire, see what happens. I think I'm out of new parts. There's all our old wires that wouldn't work. Here's our mismatched new set that I've split up to make work. Had some long runs. This, usually changing spark plug wires isn't too bad, and you think it'd be really easy on something where you can take this cover off and be laying on top of the motor, but it's tight down there. This is a heat shield, and you can't get to the bolts to remove it. There's a little window that I was able to crawl in and use an open-ended box wrench to drop it down so I could get to some of those plug wires over there, but it's tight. I can't even fit my hand in there. This side's not too bad. I can sit inside the wheel well and get to the plug wires. So all in all, went pretty well. Got a couple things I still got to do. I got to figure out a bracket so that the kick down and throttle actually operate this thing, and then it'll be good to drive. But I would like to see if I can get it at least idling, because you got to idle it for quite a while for the self-learn tune to kind of figure out what the motor wants. So I guess let's give it a go. I got the base tune loaded already. Let's prime the fuel system and turn the key. I'm still looking for a good wire under the dash that doesn't lose voltage during cranking. So right now I've got this lead coming off the battery. That way we can just use this little guy to tell it to turn on. Temporary for now, but I would like to see it run. So let's start it. Let's see if it works. Let's see how good this is. Not so much. All right, while I was cranking, I was looking at the gauges up there. Major concern, only have 2.5 pounds of fuel pressure. That's not even enough for a carburetor. We need, I believe, somewhere around 50 PSI for this thing. So we got our adjustable regulator here. I guess we should probably adjust it. Okay, you can see the fuel pressure. It says 950 right now, but that's its resting position. When you crank, it'll show actual fuel pressure. Okay, we still got problems. I don't know where all our fuel pressure's going, but it's not going into the engine. You can see the throttle blades are just barely damp, so not even enough fuel for a lawnmower, let alone a 440 big block. All right, well, let's see if we got our fuel pressure issue resolved. Key on, and go. Oh, we just lost the starter. You kidding me? Let me try again. Yep, it's not kicking the Bendix forward. Great. Okay, well, I'm going to go buy a starter now, and then we'll continue testing on this. Probably not one in town. See, it's going to be 2 weeks, guys. I told you, this whole process is going to take 2 weeks, and it should have been 2 days in the driveway. Here we are. You guys aren't going to believe this. It's an entire week later. Oh, yeah. We're a solid month into this thing now. Go figure. But hey, look, some parts showed up. Remy starter. Look at that. Okay. That looks absolutely nothing like the starter that was in here. This is one of those mini high torque ones though. It's got a gear down thing going on. But oh yeah, that is quite a bit different. But looks like they both the same maybe. Pretty close. Sure, okay, why not? Anyway, glad I got the old one out. That just showed up. I'm gonna crawl underneath this thing and slap it in. Been working on some wiring and figuring out the lighting and that sort of thing. It's gonna be nice to clean this thing up. Look at this, it's a worse disaster than when I bought it. But you know, a solid day with the vacuum and steam machine. This thing's gonna look brand new in here. Okay. Back to putting this all together. Starter's a real pain to get to. You can get one bolt from going under that header and coming back this way. It's hard. The other one you can get from the bottom. And the wiring, you can kind of get your arm up on it. So it takes a minute, but we're going to slap that in there. Got the display mounted up there. That's looking pretty sharp. Not sure where to run the wire yet. Don't have quite enough to go all the way up underneath the dash and down and under here and back down and under and over to our ECU. So it might just come out back here where I've put the secret switch. That little guy turns our ECU on and off for our fuel injection. So it's almost like a security system. Although I just showed all you guys. So if anybody steals this, I know it's one of the subscribers. Okay, anyway. Getting on to that starter so we can crank on this thing. Get that fuel pressure dialed in and get the timing set and hopefully get this started soon. All right, let me bring you down around underneath here. Now this thing was giant, right? This old one, massive. So you think the smaller one would fit better. I have it loosely bolted into place, kinda. It doesn't seat all the way. And I think the problem is up there, where our terminal connections are supposed to be, is hitting the block, which, you know, you don't really want that because that's a direct connection to the battery. Also, here's this. Here's our terminals right here. Yeah, that's about 2 inches short. That's max extended. That's as far as I can get these to go. So that's not working. Yes, I could extend these wires. But I can't even get this thing to seat all the way in where it's supposed to be. There's like a 1/8 inch gap. It's just gotta be, something's hitting. I think it's up top. Look at that. All right, well, it's really hard to order parts for a motorhome, just so everybody knows. Nobody has them in their catalogs as Winnebagos. You got to go with the original manufacturer, which is fine. It's a 77 Dodge. It's a Chrysler product, right? Here's the stamp right here, Dodge, Plymouth. That is a M400. Okay, so I ordered parts for a 77 M400, like the tag says, and parts never fit. Hey, lucky us. I found an auto parts store in the next town over that could have one the next day. So, hey, it's the next day and not next week. Look at that. It only looks slightly used. Somebody's definitely tried to bolt it into something before. Hopefully it still works. But, yeah, look at the size of that thing. Definitely a lot harder to squeeze up inside here, but hopefully it actually fits and we can try to get this thing started today. All right, somebody get a hold of the weatherman. It was freezing when I started this process, and today it's 80 degrees. Got the shop door open. Spring is happening. That's pretty cool. Got lots of work to do. This Lance really needs to get done. I think I bought that 3 or 4 months ago, so that should have been sold already. But we're coming into springtime, which means better prices for campers and boats, so maybe it's a good thing I waited that long. It's going to be a sharp unit when it's done. Going to be doing a video about replacing the entire roof. A lot of you said you wanted to see that, so I guess I'll record that for you. But for now, the starter's in. And it's time to hook the battery back up and get back to our startup tune to see if we can get this thing running or not. Give it a little tickle. You know, make sure you're not going to get a glitter bomb in the face if you just slap it on there. Don't mind the screw in the negative. That keeps things together. Check this out. Got the little switch here. Whee! Pumps priming. Screen's on. All right. Turn our key on. It's going to turn on all our gauges. Activate our starter. Kill shot. All right. Let's see what the starter sounds like. Sounds like bad. All right, well, we're gonna try again, I guess. Still nothing. Battery voltage seems good. What is going on here? Okay, all of a sudden it's cranking. Fuel pressure still says like none. I don't see enough fuel coming out of that thing. All right. All right, now we can get back to our original issue of not enough fuel pressure. It says 950 PSI, that's a lot. But watch what happens when we crank, if it'll crank again. Nope. Yep, down to about 2 PSI. That's not enough for an EFI system, just so you know. Does no... Hey, interesting thing, even though it's a reman starter, it no longer sounds like a Chrysler starter. All right, chasing down supposed fuel pressure issues, because if you look down in the bowl, those little squirters ain't squirting really hardly anything. There's a little bit of fuel coming out, but not much. That should be a solid spray coming across there, and we ain't getting it. So, all right, let me dig into some things, and I'll be back with you again for the 56th time. Okay, experiment time. Just cleaned all the terminals and the connections, especially down there on the starter solenoid. There he is. You can see him. Looks pretty good, so we're gonna test the starter solenoid. Make sure it's got voltage going out to the starter to kick the starter solenoid. That's actually on the starter. So I guess this would be a starter relay. Okay. Anyway, 0 volts. Gonna go down here, connect it. You guys tell me, because I'm not gonna be able to see it. Okay. I am on the relay. I'm about to hit the key. Do you guys see voltage there? If so, say yes in the comments. Okay, guys, I do have voltage down at the relay, so that means either the starter or the solenoid is bad. The brand new refurbished unit from China, of course, because that's where they do that now. I can't believe they send all the old starters from the 1970s overseas to China to get rebuilt and then sent back here and repackaged in American packaging. It's just nuts. I doubt there's too many 440 big blocks over in Shanghai province or wherever the heck it comes from, but that's just insane. All right, so guess what? I get to order another starter for this thing just so we can start testing it. Still haven't gotten the fuel pressure problem figured out, but, I can't turn the motor, so things are getting difficult here. All right, chin up. Take number 78. Let's go. Guys, you're not going to believe this, but it's true. It's true. It happened. We're in April now, so well into a month since we started working on this thing. I am on starter number 4. Yes, the last bad starter that you just saw me return. I went to go return it, so I decided to open the box of the new starter when I got there, and it had the return receipt covered in grease all over a beat-up starter with hammer marks on it, and the case looked like it had been dropped off in at least a one-story building. So I said, no, I'm not taking somebody else's used garbage. Order me another one. They said, well, there isn't one in the state. So here we are a week after that debacle, and finally, I have a new starter in that box there. Actually, I just finished putting it in, and it didn't look like it had been dropped off a one-story building or been installed and returned already. So starter number 4. I have a feeling about this one. I think it's gonna work. All right, friends, here's the deal. Got starter number 4 installed down there. Looks clean, looks nice. I went ahead and replaced solenoid wires, everything. I cleaned all the terminals and all the connections to pretty much everything on this and the battery and more. Got up underneath the dash, found some wires that used to go to the old carburetor on this thing. The electric choke had melted some wires, so I fixed those already too. So we got those wires fixed, got those wires fixed. Everything seems to be pretty good now. I went ahead and looked into our fuel pressure problem. There's our fuel pressure regulator. Look at that guy. So, interestingly enough, I've never had an adjustable fuel pressure regulator before. So this was a first for me, and I just installed it how it was handed to me, and apparently that was the wrong way. So this is the pressure line coming out of our throttle body here, and that's correct. That's good. Here's our vacuum reference here. But you'll notice something. Here's our adjustment screw for the pressure. I did have return to tank coming out this way. Apparently that is also another pressure side. That way if you're running 2 fuel rails or something on a multi-port injected vehicle, you can have 2 pressure sides. Return to tank is always out of the bottom, and I actually had a bolt in here because that's the way I had it. So I took that bolt out, put it over here, put our fitting down here. We should have a regulator that actually regulates now. The way it was working is it was just letting all the fuel come straight out the other side. That's why we only saw 2 PSI. That is just pump moving line pressure. So I think we got that solved. I'm gonna go hook the battery back up. I think today's the day. I think we're gonna hopefully get this thing running and maybe driving again. So would be nice. You know, it's been a bit of a project, as you guys have seen. You know, she's gonna clean up real nice. It's gonna look real good. Real excited to get it back on the road. Got these nice Iron Man tires on the front now, so I don't feel like I'm gonna die. You know, got a few things to do. I did top the radiator back off, caps off. Remind me to put that back on if it starts running. Okay. Looking pretty good. Let's put the battery cable on. Okay, key on. Gotta go down over here to the secret ignition switch. Patow! Oh, I just saw fuel like come spraying out of that thing. We've increased pressure a lot. Oh my gosh, 106 PSI. That's okay. Hold on, I gotta make an adjustment. 106 is a little spicy. Let's get that down to about 45, 50 pounds or so. Let me adjust that real quick and then we'll crank on it. Let's see what happens now. Oh yeah, there's our prime pump there. It's gonna shoot a little down the neck for startup. 49 PSI. That's pretty much right where I want it. Let's hit the starter. Oh my gosh, it's running. Holy, but it's running. All right, we got a few things to do here. We got a timing issue for sure. Okay, sweet. That motor was running badly, but we're pretty close on our timing. I mean, we had enough to start up. I don't know which direction we need to go. So we're just gonna left, right, see where it starts to run better. Once I get it so I can kind of calmly idle it, I'll get the timing light out and see if we can get up on the front here. Well, I turned the idle up a little higher than where I really want it, but I think I just need to keep it idling so it can learn the air-fuel ratio and start making its own tune. And punched it up to 950. It's currently at 1,000 because it's
It's on a cold start idle. And now it's running pretty smooth. Ignore the smoke. You'll see the top of the valve cover is no oil, but if you get down underneath them, they are leaking quite a bit of oil right onto the manifold. So I'm gonna put some new gaskets on this guy, because it's stinky in here, like it always is. Get that problem solved up. But for now, look at that. It's getting right down to 950. It's learning. We'll see if I can rev it up a little bit now. It'll take it. Oh yeah, okay. She's learning good. Okay. We're gonna make a little bit of adjustments to the timing. These 440s only like about 8 degrees of advance. And then we'll set a max for it as well. That'll help with the learning curve. There's a lot of smoke though. Let's see how she sounds out the backside. Oh, purring like a kitten. This motor does run pretty good. The exhaust smells way better now that we're on a throttle body injection. We're going to be dialing in our air-fuel ratio. That's going to be great. Can't wait to get this thing finished and cleaned up. Once we kind of get a base tune in it, and I can make sure everything works. So, it's weird up here. It doesn't sound right. Fan's spinning, ain't it? I think the fan was spinning. But that sounds like water pump bearings. Probably be doing a water pump here soon. You know, might as well rebuild the whole thing before we slap an 82mm turbo into it. Yeah, that sounds very water pumpy up here. Great. You know, it's set for a long time. You start putting some time on these motors that have been sitting, and you're going to start losing components left and right. For example, the battery charger's hooked up because the alternator's not charging, but that might be due to some of the wiring we took out. Oh man, she's smoky in here. Alright, well I'm going to go check all the fuel lines for any leaks now that it's idling. I'll just kind of give the whole thing a once over. We'll see how it's doing. That's a lot of smoke. Alright, pulled her outside. Working on our tune here, but it was getting a little stinky in the shop. So got the cover on. She's facing into the 40-mile-per-hour winds that we got out here. And just kind of letting her learn for a few minutes here. We're doing some open revving on the throttle. Just kind of letting it figure out what it needs for fuel trim and like open enrichment when the butterflies open and stuff. See how it's just if you get on it to like 3/4 throttle real quick, there's a little stutter there or it goes lean. So it's learning that right now. We're working out that issue. Once we get that learned, we're going to take it for a little drive and put some load on it and see how it does, because it's going to definitely have to enrich with a load. Yeah, see, it's getting better already. We're driving, hope you like driving too. It's actually windy in here because I got all the windows open. That's fun. Alright. A little bit of throttle, okay. She's taking it. Looking pretty good. We can't go too far because we're running on just battery. And I don't really want to walk back home. Alright, let's pull out and give it a little gas. Got a little tuning down here. Oh yeah, there we go. Getting better. Feeling pretty good. Third gear. Not even full throttle. That's like less than half. Well guys, yesterday I was so excited that it was running, I forgot to do some steps. Need to set the static timing, which means our distributor's locked out. Yes, that's great. But our computer was not, so it kept adjusting the timing. You got to lock out the computer I got it locked at 12 degrees, which is what the Mopar guys say the 440 wants. Now from the factory, it only had 8 degrees of advance. Now it's locked at 12. This is locked down in place. You can't see the marks really. Nope. 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 There it is. Down there. You see that? Because of all the factory motorhome stuff that's up on the front here. So it's gonna be real hard to see that. I'm gonna throw the timing light on, set it for 12. Now we're gonna adjust our distributor so it matches that exactly. That way our static timing is exactly where I want it to be, so the ECU actually knows that 12 is 12 and not to advance it there. That's where it should stay. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Get this thing fired up and warmed up. Get that on there, and then I might try to sneak inside there on top of that tire, and I think I might be able to see the timing marks. We'll see. Join me, won't you? Get up in it. All right, got a little battery down here because the one for the motorhome's way in the back, so I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I'll zoom in. We're a little bit off. I got her set right at 12. See, we're already too advanced. Maybe that's part of our problem. Okay, dialed it back a hair. You see that little dot there? We're trying to line up with that. Flipping that closer, and pull a little bit more timing out of it. All right, fixed some wiring, got gauges back. Looks like I need to go get some fuel, but look, oil pressure, stuff's working. Looking pretty good up here. About as far as I can go with the handheld. I'm gonna have to go get a PC, which I'm an Apple guy, so I don't have one sitting around that's any very new anyway. Maybe one of the old ones will work, because I got to go download the software from Aces in order to do the fine tuning. Basically on this, you can just kind of set settings and let it try to self-learn in between your settings and build its own fuel and spark curve. It's not very good. It's very, digital looking to make a nice smooth analog curve. I do have a nasty spot in the fueling and the fuel table, or maybe it's the spark table, I'm not sure, but right at 3,000 RPM to 3,400 RPMs, this thing just like, I don't know if it's loading up or if it's running a little lean or if it has too much spark advance right there, but you can just feel the motor, and then you hit 3,400 RPMs and it picks back up. So the table for this engine specifically is just not working. So I'm gonna go get a laptop and do some hand tuning so I can actually make that curve. Maybe watch a video or two, because my tuning's usually like with a screwdriver and twisting things a little bit. That's most tuning I ever do. So I want to get this thing set up and learn a few things, especially with air-fuel ratios, ignition advance, that sort of thing, before we go ahead and throw a turbocharger on this thing, because I don't want to blow up a really good running 440 with only 57,000 miles and what's going to be a really nice motorhome once I'm done with it. That would be a huge pain to replace. I don't know how you get this out of here. I think Roadkill cut out the side of one of these once to pull a big block out. So I don't want to do that. We're just going to have to learn how to do this the right way, be extra safe. That way we don't blow it up, but we do make it more efficient and a little bit faster. Because climbing those hills in Wyoming at 32 miles an hour was terrifying. All right, well, let's give this thing a little bit of a rundown now that I got it kind of dialed in. Partial throttle there, looking pretty good. Full throttle. Second gear, 4,200 RPMs. Ripping it over 40 miles an hour, 45, 46. This thing is fast now. Huh. Who would have thought 30 feet of stock motorhome exhaust sounded so horrible? it do. Shot a little fireball all the way out the back though. Pretty impressive. So that's telling you fuel table's probably a little rich, or maybe we hit the rev limiter, which I have set really low at only 4,500 RPMs. Because she's an old big block. We don't want to hurt her, right? All right. That's the goal here. We don't want to hurt this thing. We just want to make it better and polish her up, because this thing's going to look great. I'm going to do a little touch up on the front end here, repaint the black around the headlights, polish the metal rings that go in there, put that all back together, and buff the whole thing on the outside. But other than that, the outside's pretty much perfect. So I'm going to do that, get the inside done, get this tune dialed in for the motor with the new fuel injection system. And guys, I got to be honest, this video was supposed to be posted 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. That's a while. I was originally going to try to do the turbo system on this in this video, but we're just out of time. There's just no way that I can spend another couple weeks working on this thing and post no content for 2 months straight. P.S. The algorithm on YouTube doesn't like it if you're not posting, and it will derate your channel, shall we say that, in a fashion where I will have less views because I haven't been posting every 5 or 6 days like the algorithm likes. So if you're posting every 5 or 6 days, chances are your channel's probably going to do pretty good as long as your content's halfway decent. Mine's subpar at most, but some of you guys like it. I appreciate that, and that's why I still make this video content for you guys. So thank you. In other news, I'm going to post this video and make this a two-parter. So the next video you see on the 1977 Winnebago Chieftain is us turbocharging it. So I'll have a tune dialed in, learn a few things, maybe even hire a tuner so we get this thing done right. And we're just going to run 6 or 7 pounds of boost in it, make the engine more efficient since it's only 7-to-1 compression. That is room to work with, shall we say, on this thing. So, hey, big shout out to Raycon again for sponsoring this episode. Appreciate those guys. Go check out the link in the description. And of course, I appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching today. God bless each and every one of you. And we will see you in the next episode.
This is the first time I've unboxed this, actually. I don't see any instructions.
Full throttle. Second gear, 4,200 RPMs. Ripping it over 40 miles an hour, 45, 46. This thing is fast now.